right, let's talk about Canada now, shall we? Justin Trudeau seems hell-bent on destroying Canada. It's his favorite pastime, forcing Canadians to fund a pointless war in Ukraine. He confirms that Canada has sent $20 billion to Ukraine already and is ready to send more. Watch.
We've also invested close to $20 billion in supports for Ukraine, military, economic, and other. And we're going to continue to be there to support Ukraine.
Yeah, he will be. What about troops on the ground? You know, should Canada start sending young men there to die more than have already? I mean, there's been plenty of Canadian mercenaries we know probably already killed, American mercenaries, French mercenaries, Polish mercenaries. But will he send Canadian men there to die, young men? Watch.
Prime Minister Starmer said specifically it will mean UK boots on the ground and planes in the air. From your answer, I am taking that that will not mean Canadian boots on the ground. Is that, just to finish, is that the case, or are you considering Canadian boots on the ground in the form of peacekeepers down the road?
Every step of the way, Canada has looked at the ways it can best help. And as I've said a few days ago, everything's on the table. We know that the Canadian military has ways that it can contribute. We're not going to get ahead of the discussions on how to keep a peace that isn't yet in place. But Canada will be there and is open to doing what is necessary, but those will be decisions taken in the coming years.
Yeah, so more money and more weapons heading there. Natali had to step out, but I'm going to interview now. Maxime Bernier is a leader of the People's Party of Canada and joins us now to comment about this. So, Maxime, great to see you. Welcome back to the show. So, not ruling out boots on the ground, more money to Ukraine. This sounds exactly like what the Canadian people want, right?
Yes, and it said also, we will decide for the boots on the ground in coming years. So for him, you know, this war must go on. Like you said, we spend, not invest, but spend $20 billion, money that we don't have. We have a deficit of $62 billion. So he does not understand the reality. The reality is, you know, the only adult in the room is President Trump. We must have a peace over there, and the conditions are out there. You know, Ukraine must be neutral, no troops, European or Canadian troops in Ukraine, and you know, the Russia will keep Crimea and Donbass, and that's it. The deal is on the table, and the history of our country is to promote peace and peacekeeping. So he must be with Trump on that, and that will be great for Europe. That would be great for our country. We don't have to spend more money over there. Now, what I'm understanding is when Trudeau is saying we are with Ukraine, is saying we are with the destruction of Ukraine.
Right. Yes, that's absolutely the case. I mean, so he's been aligning himself with these European leaders. He was in Kiev, I think, a week or so ago. He showed up there on the train. He's glad-handing with Zelensky and all of those guys, giving a big hug to Zelensky. Then he's hanging out with the European leaders, aligning himself with Europe. This seems to be the pattern of the Liberal Party. But Pierre Pollivere also standing with Ukraine. There doesn't seem to be much daylight at all between Pierre Pollivere and Justin Trudeau on the question of Ukraine. Am I wrong about that?
You're absolutely right. And it is why Pierre Pollivere is losing a lot of support in the polls in Canada right now, because he is like Trudeau, and people will prefer to vote for the real liberals instead of the fake one with Pierre Pollivere. So on Ukraine is go and is out there speaking about, you know, us being more involved in that war. And he's fighting Trump on that, like Trudeau. So on a lot of issues, Pollivere, the conservatives, are like the liberals, and that's why I said long time ago that they are conservative in name only in Canada. We don't have this conservative party is morally and intellectually corrupt, and that's why we, the People's Party, at the next election, I can tell you, we are in it to win it, and we'll see what will happen.
Well, right now there seems to be a trade war. Prime Minister Trudeau was sort of given an ultimatum by President Trump. Hey, stop the flow of fentanyl into the United States, or we're going to put these 25% tariffs on your country. You export quite a bit to the United States, and we don't need you to be doing that. Canada has massive tariffs, like we talked about, dairy and other things, cheeses, 300% tariffs on United States agriculture and cheeses and dairy coming into Canada. So huge prices on that. This trade war seems to be happening. Trudeau had an opportunity to stop the flow of fentanyl into the United States. Did he even do anything at all to try to stop the flow of fentanyl into the U.S.?
He started a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but it's not enough. He must be more serious about that and reinvest in our own national defense. He did say that he will invest more than $2 billion to protect our borders, but we need to see that as soon as possible. So my understanding with President Trump, he wants to reopen the free trade agreement right now, not waiting until 2026, but now. So let's tell him, President Trump, you don't like the deal that we have with you. Let's reopen that deal and put everything on the table. Yes, the dairy cartel and also the automobile sector, put everything on the table and have real negotiation. Now, Pollivere and Trudeau, again, they are on the same on that. They want to be sure that Canadians will pay more taxes because today Trudeau did impose 25% tariffs on a lot of goods that are coming from the US. That is a tax on Canadians. And I'm the only politician who's saying enough is enough. We are paying a lot of taxes. But no, they want to impose more taxes on us. The reality is we must not do that. Just take our time, go in Washington, have that discussion with Trump, reopen the free trade agreement, and, not imposing more tariffs on us. What they're doing, they are, our economy will be in a recession because of that. And more people don't understand that we don't have a leader that will fight for our country. And the way to fight for our country is not to do retaliation measures like they're doing right now.
I speak to quite a few Canadians who tell me the same thing. They cannot believe what they've seen, the destruction of their country under Justin Trudeau in just the past couple of years. What they have done, what this man has done is unbelievable. And just when I think he can't do any more damage, the guy resigns a few weeks ago, says he's going to resign. He managed to do even more damage a few weeks after that. Unbelievable. Maxime Bernier, thank you for joining us from Montreal, Canada. We're watching this very, very closely as Justin Trudeau continues to try to align himself with the European warmongers. I'm sure that's going to end well for Canada. Maxime, thank you for being a voice of reason up there. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.